What's up, fellas? Here with the year-end video review. Obviously, I haven't come to you guys with a video in a while, but I did promise you guys I would have a video at the end of the year, basically just recapping the season, talking about the draft, who had the best pick in each round, who had the worst pick in each round. And then I've also gone through and evaluated some of the trades, well, basically all the trades in the league. So I'll cover that at the end as well. Um, Obviously, I've posted the draft order in the chat, and it is on the league homepage on ESPN for the time being. Obviously, once football's over with, they'll deactivate the page until next season. But currently, the draft order for next year, it's going to be Kenny at 1, Jason at 2, Michael at 3, Dalton at 4, Garrett at 5, Mark at 6, Josh at 7, myself at 8, Ray at 9, DJ at 10, Derek at 11, and Dakota at 12. Obviously, in the past couple years, we have had to kind of had like rivalries set up in the league. I'm going to change that going into the coming season. I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to do it, but I do want to mix it up so everybody's not playing the same person every single year twice, just to mix things up, make keep things pretty fair across the board, and we'll see how that goes. But let's get into the draft. I'm just going to start with round one. Obviously, there's 15 rounds. Last couple rounds, I don't really cover too much. Those are mainly defenses and kicker, and just not that entertaining. Um, I guess it would also help if I would have put what pick in the round these players were, but I didn't. So I'm not going back and fixing that. So to start off in round one, I had the best pick in round one going to Mark. He picked Christian McCaffrey. I want to say it was probably like somewhere in the middle, 5 or 6. McCaffrey, I believe, led all scorers outside of probably quarterback with scoring. He had 365 points. So obviously a big year for him. Obviously there's injury scare going into the season, which was just kind of last minute. Just brought it up right before the week, a couple days before the season started. But he ended up being healthy, played the whole year, and had an amazing season. The worst pick in the first round, I gave to Dalton. His pick with Justin Jefferson. It was probably around like pick 8 to 10, somewhere in that range, I believe. Jefferson only scored 160 points this season. Obviously, um, not good. And also keep in mind, when I did the best and worst pick, I tried to keep players who had like obviously very bad injuries. Like Malik Neighbors was picked in the first round, but he got hurt so early. Like I'm not going to include him here because had he been healthy, he might have performed well. There are some guys on this list who had some injuries during the season, but they played majority of it in most cases. But obviously Jefferson struggled. Pretty much had a rookie quarterback. McCarthy was there last year, didn't really play. Just a different system, and just couldn't really figure it out. We'll see if McCarthy is the guy next year, but Jefferson, I'm pretty sure, will not be a first-round pick next year unless they make some changes at quarterback. In round number 2, I have the best pick in round number 2. Once again, going to Mark, who drafted Puka Nacua. I mean, obviously, we all know the big trade that Mark made, where he traded both those guys before the season started. I'm sure that keeps him up at night. Puka ended up scoring 311 points on the season. He was obviously very good value in the second round, producing like that. I do believe he also had a little bit of injury stuff. He if I remember correctly, he was hurt. Some of last season. I also know Matthew Stafford was going into the season with a back injury, so that may have had some hesitation there with drafting him. But he obviously killed it this year and will be a first-round pick going into next season. The worst pick in the second round goes to myself. I drafted Brian Thomas Jr. He only ended up putting up 115 points on the season. Just it almost seems like he had a fluke. Great rookie season. It's not like they added much talent at receiver. Obviously, they drafted Travis Hunter, but he missed a good at least half the season. Nobody else really panned out. I mean, they got a new coach, and they're obviously a much better team. But he just very underperformed this year. In round 3, the best pick in round 3 goes to Dalton. He drafted Jackson Smith and Jigba. Um, JSN ended up putting up 300 points on the season. Great value in round three. Obviously, had a monster season for the Seahawks. They're the number one seed in the NFC. Sam Darnold used him just like he used Jefferson, like just peppering his number one guy with targets, and seems to be working out pretty well for him. Darnold's going to continue to make a lot of money because of it. And then the worst pick in the third round goes to Derek with his pick of Alvin Kamara. Alvin Kamara only put up 84 points this year. I do know he was in and out here and there with injuries. Obviously missed the tail end of the season, but I'm pretty sure he was playing for majority of the season. Saints just not that great of a team. Obviously, once they put Tyler Shook in the game, he's doing pretty solid. It looks like he'll be their QB for the future. But obviously, it's going to be a smaller future because he's like 28 years old. But we'll see how that goes. In round number 4, I gave the best pick in round 4 to myself with Tedero McMillan. He had 176 points. He had a pretty solid rookie season. He may end up winning Rookie of the Year. We'll see how that goes. And obviously, some of these were close and a little difficult to decide. I know that was definitely a round where there's somebody pretty close to him. Worst pick in that round, I gave to Derek. Derek had a pick of Chuba Hubbard. Chuba ended up with 110 points on the season. He obviously missed a little bit of time, and then when he came back, he was pretty much 100% splitting time with Rico Dowdle, which definitely hurt him there. And the Panthers just aren't that a high scoring offense, so not a ton of scoring opportunities. Obviously, you guys know they snuck into the playoffs by the skin of their teeth. I know Panthers fans are likely one to. We beat the Rams before. We can do it again. Uh, I mean, yes, you obviously can. It's a game. You can win. Um, you're like a 10.5 point underdog. Not sure the Rams will win by that much, but I think that's the biggest guarantee of the week that the Rams will win, especially getting a Devontae Adams healthy back. In round number 5, the number 1 pick in round number 5, or the best pick in round 5, goes to Dalton. He drafted George Pickens in round 5. Pickens ended up putting 245 points up on this season. He was a great addition to the Cowboys. Filled in amazing when CeeDee Lamb was out for a little bit. Um, just I just killed it. I mean, he better than he was playing in Pittsburgh. Um, Pretty much whatever attitude issues he had seems to be resolved. Cowboys will do whatever they can to keep him. So I'm looking forward to seeing season 2 with him and Lamb and Dak working it around the field. In round 5, the worst pick in round 5 goes to Jason with his pick of Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones put up 105 points on the season. Obviously, Aaron Jones did miss some time with injury at points in the season, but just like Justin Jefferson, the Vikings offense just wasn't explosive, not scoring a lot of points. He was also splitting some carries with Jordan Mason. So just a tough season for Aaron Jones there. We go into round number 6. Best pick in round number 6. So I have kind of a tie here between RJ Harvey, who Kenny picked, and Emeka Ibuka, who DJ picked. I believe RJ Harvey scored 183 points on the season, and Ibuka scored 164. Harvey was picked earlier in the round than Ibuka, and so a slight point difference there. Harvey started the year slow, but then really ramped up at the end. Complete opposite for Ibuka. Ibuka killed it the first chunk of the season, and then just completely fell off. But still good value there in round 6, and was really carrying the receiver position for the Bucks in the beginning of the year. Worst pick in round number 6 goes to Jason. He drafted Matthew Golden. Matthew Golden ended up putting up 56 points on the season. Just a complete dud of a rookie season. Um, no, I don't know what else to say there. I mean, there's opportunities for him. There's injuries at receiver for the Packers. Just not sure he's going to end up being any good. In round number 7, the best pick in round 7 goes to Kenny. He drafted Chris Olave in round 7. Chris Olave ended up putting up 248 points, which is very good season for him. I've had Chris Olave on my team before. He sucked, so I kind of definitely was avoiding him. Had a great season, not a great team, but he was also able to stay healthy, which was a little surprising given his concussion history. But good season for him. Great pick in round 7. Worst pick in round 7 goes to Jason. So that's 3 picks, 3 rounds in a row. He had the worst pick. His pick of Evan Ingram in that round never really panned out for the Broncos. They didn't really utilize the tight end a ton. It was Marvin Mims. It was Troy Franklin. It was the run game. Bo Nix. Evan Ingram only put up 78 points on the season, so not a great season for him there. In round number 8, the best pick in round 8, I gave to myself with the pick of Jalen Warren. Jalen Warren ended up with 197 points on the season. If they didn't have Kenny Gainwell, Jalen Warren would have had quite a bit more because he was splitting a lot of time with Gainwell. But Jalen Warren's a big reason the Steelers are in the playoffs, even though they snuck in as just like the Panthers. But solid season for him there. The worst pick in round 8 goes to Michael. His pick of Jalen Wright. Jalen Wright had 46 points in the season. Achane stayed healthy majority of the season. Wright was also playing behind Ollie Gordon, who had a decent season in a backup role. So it's just a tough break for Jalen Wright there. In round number 9, the best pick in round 9 goes to myself. I drafted Travis Etienne in round number 9. Etienne ended up putting up 236 points on the season. Had a great season. Did split a little bit of time with Bashal Tutin when he was healthy, but for the most part, Etienne was doing the best he could to carry the offense in the backfield. Him and Trevor Lawrence did great season for the Jaguars, and we'll see how they perform in the playoffs. Worst pick in round 9 goes to Dalton, and that is his pick of Caleb Johnson. Caleb Johnson ended up scoring a total of 8 points on the season. Obviously, he had a lot of offseason hype going into the season. Maybe he could usurp Jalen Warren and Kenny Gainwell. It just didn't happen. He just wasn't very good. We'll see if that changes moving forward. I actually kind of liked him coming out of college. I was kind of hoping the Cowboys would get him because we need running back. But we'll see in the next round who we have and why maybe we don't anymore. But in round 10, the Garrett Baker drafted Javonte Williams, Cowboys' new running back. He scored 225 points, had a very good season, started off really strong, and it kind of cooled off a little bit near the end, but still solid. Getting that kind of value in round 10, top, I don't know where he finished, top 12, top 15 running back in round 10 is really, really, really solid. In round 10, the worst pick in round 10 goes to Mark. And I'm trying to read my handwriting there. It was his pick of Jerome Ford, the running back for the Browns. Ford only scored 31 points on the season. Just Judkins, Sampson, just played a lot more than him. Probably somebody else too. In round 11, the best pick in round 11 goes to Derek. His pick of Dallas Goedert. Goddard ended up finishing as one of the better tight ends on the season. He had 155 points on the season. So getting solid value at tight end in round 11 is a pretty good pick there. The worst pick in round 11 goes to Michael. His pick of Christian Kirk. Christian Kirk ended up scoring only 44 points on the season. I also have mentioned here. I didn't write down who drafted him, but somebody drafted Cedric Tillman. And he was pretty poor for the Browns as well. In round 12, the best pick in round 12 goes to myself. I drafted Drake May in round 12. I think he finished as the second best quarterback on the season with 351 points. So obviously very good value to get in round 12. At that point, I think he was my second quarterback I was drafting. And then the worst pick in round 12 was Jalen Blue. Dalton drafted him. He's a running back for the Cowboys, in case you don't know. And he scored a total of 20 points on the season. In round 13, the best pick in round 13 went to Ray. He drafted Caleb Williams, the Bears quarterback, in that round. Caleb ended up scoring 317 points on the season. So very good value in the 13th round. Worst pick in the 13th round goes to Josh. His pick of Adam Thielen in that round, who got traded from, I think it was Panthers to Steelers. Thielen only put up 30 points on the season. I don't have anything for round 14. I don't have any worst pick in round 15. I did mark down a best pick in round 15. That goes to Mark. Mark drafted Alec Pierce in round 15, and he ended up scoring 160 points on the season. So, very good season for him, especially to get drafted that late in the draft. Also, if Daniel Jones wouldn't have got hurt, probably would have had over 200 points in the season. It's just unfortunate what took place there. Next, I'm going to cover some of the draft or some of the trades we had this season, and kind of talk about that. I don't really have too much on the scoring. Obviously, some of these trades took place later in the season. I wasn't going to spend the time to really dig into the points, and like I was more so just looking at overall points because it's easier to get that data. But obviously, we've all discussed it. It had a massive impact on our league. The first trade that took place between Mark and Dakota, which coincidentally kind of ultimately probably decided who won the league. But good for Dakota for pouncing on and taking that risk. But Mark traded Christian McCaffrey and Puka Nakua to Dakota for Jamar Chase and Tank Bigsby. Obviously, at the time, CMC was reported to have an injury. Whether or not that was true, don't know. I don't know why they would have lied, but and obviously he's had some injury history. Um, Obviously, Puka is dealing with a quarterback who had a back injury. I think he had a little bit of injury last year himself. Jamar Chase was the number one player in fantasy. Bengals defense looked still all season looked like shit, and the Bengals were supposed to be putting up 30 plus points a game with a healthy Joe Burrow. Obviously, Joe Burrow went down, changed things pretty drastically for Jamar Chase's value. At the time, Tank Bigsby was on the Jaguars. He was supposed to compete with ETN for the starting job. As you can see, ETN had a great season, so Bigsby may not have gotten traded. Maybe he could have done something there. Like you don't know. I mean, ETN's a good back, but he's not a Saquon Barkley where Tank went and had to sit behind. So unfortunate for Mark. Obviously, that that trade victory goes to Dakota in a landslide after everything was all said and done. Obviously, that was one of the most lopsided trades after the fact that we've had on the season. But at the time, I understood Mark's concern. Um, he was getting the number one player in the draft. I like Tank Bigsby's opportunity in Jacksonville. I didn't think CMC was going to miss time, but that's just my opinion. You never know. So unfortunate, but that's how it goes. Next trade we have, Mark traded Jamar Chase to me, and I traded him Cortland Sutton and Travis Etienne. As far as who won that trade, I think I do give the slight edge to Mark in that respect. Jamar Chase scored 250 points on the season. Cortland Sutton scored 183, and Etienne scored 236. So obviously, I got the slightly, by the smallest margin, best player in the deal. But I think I might have given up maybe a little too much. Didn't know Etienne was going to continue to play as well as he was all season. And Cortland Sutton definitely had his ups and downs, but uh, honestly, so did Jamar Chase. Next trade was also between Mark and myself. Mark traded me Lad McConkey, Brandon Aubrey, and DeAndre Swift, and I traded him Jordan Love, Cam Little, Brian Thomas Jr., and Jalen Warren. Um, Pretty much you can cancel out the kickers. I mean, Aubrey and Little both were amazing and very, very good this year, so it doesn't really matter. Ladd was a little bit better than Brian Thomas. I mean, it wasn't huge. Swift and Warren were pretty much comparable there, and then Jordan Love was just the icing on the top. I didn't need him. I think at the time Mark needed a quarterback. I think in the grand scheme it's probably a pretty fair trade, but if I had to pick a winner, I would say Mark won that trade slightly. Next trade we have Kenny and DJ. Kenny traded Nico Collins to DJ, who traded Khalil Shakir, J.K. Dobbins, and DJ Moore. I would say that DJ won that trade, getting Nico Collins. He's the best player in the trade. He's really the only one that was pretty solid and a higher value throughout the season. So I definitely would say DJ won that trade. Next trade we have Dalton and Josh. Dalton traded Jackson Smith and Jigba for Bucky Irving. Bucky did eventually come back from injury. Took a little bit longer than expected. But obviously, JSN was one of the best players in fantasy all season. So Josh acquiring him, I would say Josh won that trade. Next trade we have DJ and Mark. DJ traded Amari DiMercado to Mark for Brian Thomas Jr. and I believe Justice Hill. Obviously, both running backs pretty much meant absolutely nothing. Maybe had like value for like a week or two. Brian Thomas Jr., although he had a poor season, he did have a couple weeks where he was solid. This trade pretty much means nothing, honestly, but if I had to pick a winner, I'd say DJ won that trade. Next trade, we have Mark and Dakota. Um, Mark traded Zay Flowers to Dakota for Rico Dowdle. At the time, Rico Dowdle was dominating, but Chuba Hubbard was coming back. Based on that, and this is one of the trades I did look at when the trade happened and how the players performed the rest of the season. Dowdle did okay on the rest of the season. He had some ups and downs. Zay Flowers was pretty solid the past, like the last 4 or 5 weeks of the season, scoring double digits every week. So I would give Dakota the win there with getting Zay Flowers. Next trade is Dalton and Dakota. Dalton traded Bucky Irving to Dakota for Brock Bowers. Um, Bucky Irving obviously was still missing time. Did come back. Played okay to finish the season, but nothing great. Brock Bowers, before he went to IR, did have at least one or two like really good games. So I would give the win there to Dalton. Next trade is Kenny and myself. Kenny traded Khalil Shakir and Derrick Henry to me for Baker Mayfield, Tedero McMillan, and DeAndre Swift. Um, after that trade, Mayfield was garbage the rest of the season. Tet really struggled at times, but did have a couple good weeks here and there. DeAndre Swift was okay. I mean, nothing crazy. Decent here and there. Was obviously battling with Kyle Monangai. Khalil Shakir, I think he had maybe 1 week that was okay since I got him. Nothing great there, but Derrick Henry was pretty solid. Obviously, had the massive week in the playoffs where he scored 4 touchdowns. So I would give the slight edge to myself in that trade. Next trade, we have Ray and DJ. Ray traded Bijan Robinson to DJ for Brian Thomas Jr., Trevion Henderson, um, Jake Ferguson, Michael Pittman, and Jackson Dart. My handwriting is not the best sometimes. Obviously, Bijan was amazing throughout the season. Was very good at the end of the season as well. But I feel like giving up 5 players, like a quarterback who was starting and playing well. Michael Pittman, at that point, I think Daniel Jones was already hurt, so probably didn't have a ton of value. Ferguson was a decent tight end, nothing special. Trevion Henderson actually had some very good games after this trade, I believe. Um, not quite as good as Robinson, but not too much, not crazy amount behind him. Brian Thomas Jr., same thing I've always talked about. He got traded a whole bunch this year, looks like. I give the slight edge to Ray, but I mean, it's kind of semantics. It's hard to really compare a 5-for-1 trade and everything there. Um, Next trade was between Josh and Garrett. Josh traded Keenan Allen to Garrett for Tyler Algier. Um, I put an X on my paper. This trade meant nothing. Both these players were garbage after this trade. Both had just single digits any week they played. The trade meant nothing. Last trade of the season was between myself and TJ. DJ traded Emeka Buka and Bijan Robinson to me for Saquon Barkley and Jamar Chase. The best player in the trade was Bijan. The worst player in the trade was Ibuka, based on name and scoring. I would say if I had to give a slight edge to a winner in this trade, I would give it to DJ. Chase was pretty solid. Barkley was pretty solid. Robinson was really good. Ibuka was really bad. So I would give the slight edge to DJ on that trade. But that is all the trades we had for this season. I mean, as you can see, in most cases, I'd say outside of probably, just looking here, probably 2 to 3 trades, everything was really close. Um, Obviously, we had a few that were really bad. I mean, obviously, you guys know the first one, just really bad after the fact. I mean, JSN for Bucky Irving, given how that played out, it's really bad. Uh, and then the rest is just kind of opinion in my head. I mean, some of these meant nothing. I mean, some of them were really close. There's a couple of trades here that were just I'm trading you trash for trash, and everybody kept being trash, so it made no difference. But it is what it is. Um, as always, I had a great time playing again this year. Obviously, I've been running things since 2015. A lot of you guys have been here since that time. We've had some slight turnover here and there, but I think for the past few years, we've had the same core group of guys. I look forward to playing, with you guys again next year. I mean, obviously, um, we might have some changes here or there. I don't foresee us going to any kind of trade voting. I mean, I have always approved all trades. I would hate declining somebody's trade because somebody thinks somebody's getting the better of it, and then let's say 2 weeks later, some player in that trade went down, and now that player got screwed because he got stuck with him and he couldn't trade him when he wanted to trade him. I don't like to tell other managers how they should manage their team. I've always been very fair with managing that and trying to control that for the league. There's only been one time a trade was ever not allowed to go through, and it was a trade I was involved in because I knew it wasn't a fair trade, and I was getting the better of it. So I didn't allow it to go through because I didn't want to tarnish the league by any means. But I don't see us going there. But if obviously if majority wanted it, um, I would definitely have to consider at that point. I can't run a dictatorship here. Um, if that's what majority of guys want to have vetoes or get the vote on the trades, sure. And then we'd have to establish how many votes does it take to approve it. It would delay things. Trades would not get approved immediately. And then you got to get everybody to participate in the voting to have it work properly. I understand there's only 12 of us, and we know probably half of us are very active in communicating and checking everything things on a daily basis. Others probably aren't quite as active. It could just be that's just how they are. It could be they have their careers, their personal life, their families, their children, and things don't allow them to do that, which is completely understandable. I get. So that those are things we'd have to take into account as well. Um, one other thing, we may look into and may put to a vote is, some of us play in another league together, where, you basically do, I think it's called victory points. So essentially you have two chances to win each week. You win your matchup, and then if you score in the top half of the league, you get a win. If you score in the bottom half of the league, you get a loss. It awards teams, that obviously are better because they're scoring more points. But you don't get 100% screwed because you played the top scoring team, but you scored the third most points in the league. So it helps out with that a little bit. I do like that. I think it helps promote the better teams to get into the playoffs. In the league I play in with Dakota, Dalton, a couple other guys here. Um, it works out pretty well. Didn't work in my favor this year. Didn't make the playoffs, but I do like that. And of course, if there's any scoring changes, anything you guys want to you hear, you think would be good, bring it up. Everybody's open to things. I can't imagine there'll be anything any of us have never heard of before. But maybe it's just not something we thought about actually putting in place, or maybe didn't quite understand what it was 100% when we heard it. I don't know. But I wish you guys all the best. Enjoy the rest of the football season. There's not a ton left. Playoffs. Obviously, we got college football tonight and tomorrow. NFL playoffs start this weekend. It should be fun. Obviously, enjoy the off season. Make sure you guys mock draft so we can have a great draft come next year. And best luck to everybody, and see you next season.